Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 9 of our podcast series, Health Frontiers Insights from Global Experts. Today's episode is Advancements in Health Research. I'm your host, Dr. Gurasi Singh Sodhi, and I'm honored to be joined today by Dr. Ashu Grover, Head and Scientist G, Division of Implementation Research, ICMR New Delhi. Welcome to the show, ma'am.
Thank you, Dr. Sodhi.
So before we start with the technical questions, when you introduced yourself yesterday and told us that you've been part of ICMR for almost 20 years, you left me and a lot of the delegates awestruck. Could you share some experiences you've had on this journey?
Thank you, Dr. Sodhi. And it's a very broad and, it takes me 25 years back. And many such stories and examples are there in my mind, very live. And I'll share one of my very story, which is very close to my heart. And I would like Dr. Sonu to be part of that story as well. And it is between he and me. Right. So when I was completing my, tenure at PGI Chandigarh, and one of the dream was that I am faculty with this organization, and this is everybody of you know that you must feel applaud that this building is this organization where you are getting trained is one of the Southeast Asia, not only Southeast Asia, the world's one of the good organization. PGI MER Chandigarh, and it has its reputation across the globe. So that was the dream. Since I have been post-graduated from this institute, I wanted to become the faculty here. So when I was selected, selection was a long process, but when I was selected to the post, and that was in the month of January 2008, okay, and that was 9th January 2008, and I was selected to this position, and that was like a dream coming true to me. And but I was in my home state of Himachal Pradesh, where my husband is working. But I had already joined Indian Council of Medical Research in 2006. So 2 years the journey was already there in ICMR. But I wanted to join PGI, so I took an extension for 6 weeks or 8 weeks, and I was granted extension because PJ also wanted to take me and I also wanted to join. I took another extension. I was not able to make up my mind. Should I come? Should I not come? Another extension was given to me, and okay, and this is also accepted. Now, should I go? Should I not go? Should I leave Delhi or should I go to Chandigarh? Very tricky decision. And it took around 6.5 months to decide, should I come to Chandigarh or should I go to Delhi? So that was a night, that was 10th of July 2008. I am in Himachal, in my state, Kangra, and I got a call from Director PGI, Dr. Ashu. I said, yes, sir. Are you joining or are you not joining? This is the last extension we are giving you. If you say yes, you join tomorrow, or we are giving this post to another person. I said, I was not answering anything. So I didn't speak to anyone to my home, not to my husband, not to my kids. And that was a Sunday. And on every Sunday, I used to come back from Himachal to Delhi. And when I was crossing Chandigarh, because Chandigarh comes on the way, and I dropped down from the bus. Ticket was till Delhi. And I got down at Chandigarh and went to my home. I have a home in Chandigarh, Sector 37. And I slept there quietly. And I was crying, should I go in the morning to Chandigarh, PGI, or should I go to Delhi? Okay. Last moment things. And it was very tricky, Dr. Sodhi. I can't explain. Tears in my eyes. I don't know, somehow I put up my bag, came to ISBT, and took my bus to Delhi. And I came to Delhi. And how the journey ended. So That is how my starting in ICMR, and then wholeheartedly given my whole 20 years to ICMR. It's a beautiful journey to ICMR, and I have been instrumental in drafting various mega initiatives from the national perspective. Very big schemes, yes.
That's a very interesting story.
Yes,
and
it
it's
is.
something we can all relate to, figuring out where to work, where to live.
Yeah,
Thank you for your answer.
it is all your, what do you think about?
So you've been working extensively on non-communicable disease research, particularly
Yes.
those of the cardiovascular system, the GI system, the neurological system. What do you think are some of the most significant advancements that you've seen or personally been a part of during your time at ICMR New Delhi?
I think as far as all these non-communicable disease research is concerned, yes, I was the program officer at a junior level to manage the research which has been submitted to ICMR in the area of cardiovascular disease and neurological sciences and gastroenterology and oral health. I think that we don't have good researchers in our country for. Most of the research which comes to ICMR in all these 3 or 4 domains was related to identification of a novel diagnostic method or a new drug or a randomized controlled trial. But I used to say that, okay, as I talked to today also, that we need to have the research which is having impact on the population. Okay, so we do not have such kind of strategies which can have that, okay, this is the outcome of the randomized controlled trial, should be implemented in a larger perspective. So nobody does that kind of a research. They only do the research in their own institute. Another thing, it's not an advancement, I'm just trying to say that what we need to do, and I think another reason is that we don't work in collaborations. So that is how that, PGI wants to work in PGI, AIMS wants to work in AIMS, and some other good institutions, they don't want to collaborate. Third thing is that they need to identify the priorities. They want to work for their priority. The priority has to be the country priority. Okay, what is the country burden? What is the need of the research? So those angles are really missing. But right now, I think when I was drafting the scheme of Model Rural Health Research Unit, I especially took care of that, the translational part of the research. That has to be, merged with the state health system. Okay, so where we had a tripartite relationship, one bigger scheme at a national level which comes up, and now we have these MRHRUs established almost in 28 states in the India, where we have the 3 partner institutions like AIMS-like institutions, the state health system, and the ICMR Institute. It is a mentor institute, so that translation of the findings, translation of the methods, guidelines, products, documents, or this drugs is available to the person at a health system level. So that is a good achievement of mine as well as for the Department of Health Research of our ICMR as well.
Thank you for an insightful answer, ma'am. Speaking of the model rural health units, they have been established in almost 28 states now.
Yes.
So what do you think is some of the impact of these units on research and the impact on health of the rural areas?
I'll say in 28 states, the MRHRUs in around 10 to 15 states are working very good. Okay, very good. So very good means almost to the rank of A grade. Some are in B grade and some are just in the inception stage. So they are not performing because they haven't recently started. So they may come up as per. The thing is that there has to be state commitments from that angle, and there has to be good products. One of the product which we have taken up is our neonatal hypothermic devices. Okay. Research which one of the ICMR Institute did, maybe I think it is Institute in Bombay, which did this research, and they have tried to incorporate these devices into the national state health program, and they are using these hypothermic devices for identifying the neonatal hypothermia at an early stage as a part of the state program. Okay. Another thing is, this HPV vaccine. human papillomavirus vaccine, which was again, as a part of the evidence which was generated. But state of Punjab has introduced this as one of the HPV vaccine to be given to all adolescent girls as an outcome of this finding. So similarly, there are many such initiatives which will come up slowly. But I think more or less these MRHUs are getting good recognition because states are recognizing their initiatives.
Thank you for your answer, ma'am. Apart from your time as a researcher and a scientist, you've also put in significant efforts to promote research in medical colleges and institutes. What is your aim or what is your motivation behind these endeavors?
The motivation, as I said, when I was the program manager, a research manager at the division of NCD, the success rate of the project was around 10 to 15%. Okay, so if there are 100 projects with me, only 10 or 15% of projects were going to be selected. Very low rate. So it means that rest 80 to 90% of the investigators who write the projects, this shows that they have an interest, but they're not able to make it. Rest who do not attempt, they do not make an attempt. But those who have attempted, only 10% are making a difference. So those 90% need to be trained because they have a wish to do the research. So I started an initiative that having research methodology workshops, and those workshops were not like that just go and train them for 2 to 3 days. My aim was they should have a concept proposal. Workshop was real workshop, not a training. So workshop was they sit like this in a group, and I used to go with the help of one statistician and an expert, which I still do, and go to each and every table and draft their objectives, draft their methodology, tell them about the study designs, tell them about the sample size calculation, tell them about the data analytic plan together in workshop, and make the proposal submittable. And when they complete the proposal, that's the outcome. And they used to submit a project to the ICMR, and again in a routine review mechanism. And I think that success rate was around 70 to 80%. So that is how I say that research methodology workshops, grant writing workshops are, very thing which is program, which I feel each faculty member should know how to do this.
Thank you, ma'am. As a fresh graduate, I can understand the importance of a helping hand in research as a medical student. You've also been actively involved in developing the health technology assessments under the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. How do you think it contributes to the health services in our country?
Well, I think this is, again, all those initiatives which I am telling you is, I say it's a part of my, body, because I have put all my blood and sweat in starting these initiatives. And again, in 2015, when this Department of Health Research was newly carved, another department which was carved by Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and the first secretary, Dr. Katoch, asked me that Ashu, what should be the task of Department of Health Research? And I enumerated these 5 tasks. One of the tasks was MRHRU, another task was multidisciplinary research unit in the medical colleges, and of course this was the third task. I said, sir, where is the evidence going to be? That evidence, whatever national health programs of our country should be driven by the evidence, and there has to be an independent body which will review the evidence, and if that evidence is found robust, then only it should be introduced into the program. If you want to introduce that, okay, the anti-tubercular treatment should be reduced to 4 weeks rather than, or 4 months rather than 6 months, there has to be an evidence that after 4 months the acid-fast bacilli is going to go away. Okay. It should not be retained to only those researchers who say that, okay, 4 months therapy is better than the 6 month therapy. Why not to put it into the program? Okay. Now, but how this body of evidence has been generated has to be reviewed. Who will review this? It was done by an independent body, irrespective of the researcher and irrespective of the user. So that is how we thought that, okay, let there be health technology assessment, and it is done routinely in Thailand. Look at their universal health coverage. We are yet to achieve that. Okay, they have their UHC, they are meeting their sustainable development goals at par with as compared to other neighboring countries. Why? Because they have a very robust this HITEP. Anybody who knows HITEP? Health Intervention Technology Assessment Program. I personally went there, stayed there for 10 days and learned that how their government is introducing this program. I went to NICE, National Institutes of Clinical Health and Excellence in United Kingdom, and they're NICE, they have a very good program of making the guidelines and appraisals of introducing the evidence into their NHS, National Health System. No policy in National Health System is governed by the evidence. So why not in our country? So that is how I started this initiative of HTAIN, and now we have the full HTAIN body which is working with Department of Health Research, and it has around 25 regional, 10 regional resource centers and around many technical partners who generate the evidence, introduce into the system, do independent appraisal, and I think 3 or 4 products have been introduced into the program. Maybe I think one was the insecticidal net, another was this hypothermic device, and another was this ear device, your hearing device that has been introduced into the program.
Thank you for your insights, ma'am. As a leader, what are the priorities for health research in ICMR? I think you would be the perfect person to ask this.
Right now, we are framing the agenda for Viksit Bharat 2047.
2047?
Yes, which we have already drafted. And because this new government has come up in India, and we have a 100-day agenda, so that is the target. We have a 100-day agenda, and those 100 days we have to have achieved something, and most important which comes up is that, which I remember right now, first is that making the Indian institutions of higher ranking. Okay, how do we do that? Because Indian institutions are very below in the category of the global ranking. So we can come in first thousands, first 500. That has to be, achievable. It is achievable. Okay. Another is our targeting towards futuristic technologies. You talk about telemedicine, you talk about innovative devices, you talk about various other portfolios. That is second. And the third priority which we are thinking about is outbreak investigations and timely responsiveness to all those calamities in time. We should not face this COVID-19 kind of scenario again, ever in globe. So these are some of the initiatives, and of course, building research capacity is the prime goal of the Department of Health Research.
Thank you, ma'am. Final message to the audience.
Final message. I'll say, I haven't written all my C's. My personal, very close to what I say, that you have to be committed, you have to be consistent, you have to be coordinated. You have to be a good communicator, you have to be a good collaborator, and you have to be continuous in your efforts if you want to succeed. And I think there is nothing you cannot achieve it. If you have aimed it, you will achieve it. But you have to do it, keeping everybody at a, equal distance. You don't have to ignore your family. You don't have to ignore your parents. You have to do justice to your profession. It's a very small life. I always say that if you have a life of 100 years, and if you want to make a difference in the society, it's a very small life. You learn after 50 years that what difference we require. Till 50 years, you're all busy. Right? So you have to work very hard.
That's a beautiful message, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us today. And to our listeners, stay tuned for the next episode of our podcast, Health Frontiers: Insights from Global Experts. Stay informed, stay healthy.